So, becoming a hybrid shooter, what is the first piece of equipment you should buy when switching from photography to shooting video? This was a question asked by a buddy of mine, Derek. Shout out to you, Derek. But basically, what's the first investment that you should invest in when you are switching from photography to shooting video? And this is assuming that you have most all of the things that you already need for photography. You already have lighting, like flashes, strobe lights. You have obviously a camera and a numerous amount of lenses and filters. What is the first thing that you should invest in so you can start taking the fundamentals you know from photography and applying that to video? All that and more right after this. What's up, guys? It's your boy Malcolm Eugene, and technically I'm a supervillain. I have been a hybrid shooter for about 6 years now. I started out shooting photos and video, so I've kind of had my investments split amongst equipment all across the board. Whenever you get burnt out on the photography aspect or video aspect, you can always switch back and forth between the two and apply knowledge from both to how you approach different situations. So what is the first piece of investment or gear or equipment or whatever should you buy if you are already an established photographer and is looking to get into video? If you don't know the fundamental differences between photography and video, then the academics would be the first thing I would recommend looking into. So, not sponsoring this video, but if they did, this is how it would go. Skillshare, an awesome platform where you can learn multiple skills, would be where I would learn the main differences between photography and video, how to shoot, the settings you should use, and even how to edit video. But if you don't want to pay for an online course, there is also YouTube. And YouTube is what I used over the past 6 years, and I still use it today. There is an abundance of amazing creators on YouTube that are making videos just like this in order to help you guys learn how to shoot video. Aside from the academics, let's assume you already know the differences between photography and video. The first thing you're probably going to need to get is some sort of video editing software. Most photographers are using, say, Lightroom or Photoshop to edit photos, but they're not going to fare too well for editing video. So that's where Adobe Premiere Pro comes in. That's where DaVinci Resolve comes in. That's where if your Apple Final Cut Pro comes in. You know, these applications are going to help you edit video and tell the stories that you want to tell cinematically. Photographers, I'm just going to assume you have all of your lighting stuff, you have all of your filters, you have pretty much everything you need. You just need to buy one piece of gear in order to make the transition or to start your transition into video. Arguably, I would recommend getting some sort of dynamic stabilization. Most photographers are going to have tripods, and that's fine. Tripods also work extremely well for video. But having something that's going to help you move your shot to tell your story is going to be essential. It really depends on what you're shooting, but it definitely helps out. Whether it's a camera slider, a stabilizer like the DJI RS2 here, 3-axis gimbal, it's going to help you stabilize your footage because unlike photography where you can have your shutter speed up so high to where you're not going to have shaky photos, shaky footage, highly undesirable, unless that's what you're going for. Another thing to consider investing in is maybe a variable ND filter. ND filters are great, they're standard ones, but having something that you can change on the fly is just going to help you out immensely when you're out in the field. This one here is the Polar Pro Peter McKinnon edition. This is the 6:9 version 1. Comes in handy, especially once you know your settings for what you're shooting for. The biggest recommendation when looking at gear to invest in first would be trying to find stuff that is more multi-purpose, something that you can use for both photography and video. Something like a light, like this one here. This is the Flashpoint FV150. The reason why I like this light is that not only is it an amazing continuous light, but it also makes for a pretty decent flash as well, because it does have that functionality to act like a speed light. Not as powerful as a studio strobe, but it does get the job done when I do need that extra light somewhere. An amazing light with dual purpose, and it even has special effects on here. If not that, you may want to consider getting a drone. Maybe you're not into aerial photography yet, but you could definitely get into it. So they do photos and videos as well, and there's a huge market for aerial photography and video pretty much all across the United States or world really. Finding gear that's multi-purpose is a very, very important thing when getting started out, because then you can use it in what you know, which is photography. With that said, becoming a hybrid shooter. The academics, learn the difference between photos and videos. Get a good video editing software, because obviously your photo editing software is not going to help you out much here. 3, finding some sort of dynamic stabilization, whether it's a gimbal, slider, whatever, something different than what you already have, which is probably typically a tripod. 4, finding just gear that's just multi-purpose for your use, that can be used for both photos and video usage, whether it's a drone, whether it's a dual function light, you know, something that's gonna help you in both aspects of your creative path. With that said, my name is Malcolm Eugene. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna try to be more consistent on here. Took a break from here because I had a little bit of a burnout, but things are getting back to normal and I gotta get back to work. For your outro. Bang. What's up, guys? Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. And of course, if you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know exactly when I'm posting next.